So this is going to be a good story, I promise you. This is going to be a positive, uplifting, joy-fulfilling, celebratory story. But before we get to that, we're going to talk about AOC for just 1 second because, listen. The fact that this woman is a representative in Congress in real life, I can't even deal with this, man. I can't, oh my God. So she did this insane rant on Instagram the other day, and you can see Caleb Hall tweeted, AOC is currently on Instagram Live encouraging people to refuse to pay their rent and engage in organized rent strikes. Then she went on a rant about how capitalism is to blame for making money off of owning property. And we're going to talk about that one in a sec, but I would be remiss if I also didn't mention that when she was asked why there hasn't been a female president yet, she said, oh, misogyny. I mean, but you know that, right? Is sexism and misogyny. And, if you know, you know. And it's like, I just want to, listen, I don't believe in violence against anyone, and I would never actually do it in real life, but I really just wanted to slap her. I really did. I would never do that. And I don't recommend anyone else does that either, but you just have that feeling inside of you where you're just like, just shut up. Just be quiet. There are many reasons why we haven't had a female president, and while I will not say emphatically that misogyny does not play a small role, how about the fact that we have not had a viable female candidate for president? That is why, AOC, we haven't had a female president. My God. And I bet you, side note, I bet that when we do have a female president, it's going to be a Republican. I would bet money on it. Listen, it's going to be like Margaret Thatcher in the UK, man. It's going to be a Republican. It's going to be a conservative. Because the reason I say that is that they don't care. They don't care about your gender. They care about your ideas. And I think that's where it's going to come from. But that's not actually what I want to talk about. That's just a fun side note. What I really want to talk about is how much AOC hates landlords. That's what I really want to talk about. How much AOC hates landlords. And she does, it really bothers me, to be honest, how the progressive left especially seems to hate business owners, people who start something and build something up, and they hate corporations because they don't seem to realize that real life people work for corporations. My husband works for one of the biggest corporations in the world. He's not an executive. He's not in some smoke-filled executive dining room or whatever. He's an average dude who does stuff for them. He's a normal human being. So they hate small business owners who have gone and built something on their own. They hate corporations, and they hate landlords because they're like, you don't even have a job. Landlord is not a job. But I want to talk about a good story. I want to talk about a good example of an amazing landlord. An amazing landlord who is a hero and who has done something wonderful for his tenants. This was reported in the New York Times the other day. This Brooklyn landlord just canceled rent for hundreds of tenants. Mario Solano has 18 apartment buildings, said he did not want renters to stress about their payment during the coronavirus pandemic. And we're going to read this story, and we're going to celebrate Mario just a little bit. But first, before we get into that, listen, lots of you have been bugging me about this one. Listen, some people have called me a grifter. I'll tell you what, man, if I was really a grifter, it was like the worst planned grift in the history of grifts, because I didn't have anything set up for it. But a lot of you have been asking me about how you can make ongoing contributions to support what I'm trying to do, and I so appreciate that. I really do. So I've done a couple of things. First off, I've set up this website, which is drcarlin.com. The link is in the description below. It's a little bit of a bare bones website right now. It's going to have more coming to it. I'm going to put information about different interviews and live streams and different media stuff that I've been doing. But this is where I could get it for today. So a couple simple pages, and one page is to donate and support my work. Now, I want to say this clearly. If you are struggling right now, don't feel like you have to. Please, please, please don't feel like you have to. I only want people to do this who are in a good place, who feel comfortable, and who want to make the donation. But if you want to do that, there are a couple of different ways you can donate. Number one, you can do it through PayPal. That's mostly for if you want to make just like a one-time donation. It does also have a monthly option as well. But if you want to make a monthly option, I'm going to recommend that you go with Subscribestar, because Subscribestar has all sorts of different tiers that you can choose from with different perks associated with each. And I have a little challenge. Because a lot of you have said, Carlin, when are you going to launch a podcast? And my response is, podcasts take a lot of work and time, and I have a day job, folks. But I would love to be able to do that. But in order to do that, we need to come together, folks, and I need to be able to make this a financially viable thing. So if we can get to $2,000 a month in monthly contributions, I will launch you a podcast. I will do it. I will dedicate resources to it. I'll dedicate time. And I'll also be able to put resources into making this type of content way, 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 way better. So that is the challenge. And I thank you in advance for even considering it. I truly am humbled by the amount of people that want to support what I'm doing. And I'm very appreciative and grateful. And I would love to be able to expand all this. But I need your help to do it. We're a team. We got to do it together, folks. All right, but let's talk about Mario Solano, because this dude, man, like this dude deserves a pat on the back. A few days after losing his job in March, Paul Gentile was throwing away trash outside his Brooklyn apartment building when he noticed a new sign hanging near the front door. Because of the coronavirus pandemic, which brought to life a near standstill in New York City. I'm sorry, folks, it's been a long day. And caused an untold number of people to lose their jobs, tenants in the building did not need to pay their April rent. And so the sign reads, due to the recent pandemic of coronavirus COVID-19 affecting all of us, please note that I am waiving rent for the month of April 2020. Stay safe, help your neighbors, and wash your hands. Thank you, Mario. More than any other large city in the United States, New York is made up of millions of renters, many of whom survive paycheck to paycheck and pay a large portion of their monthly income for a place to live. The sudden collapse of the economy has left many New Yorkers stressing about how they can pay their bills, especially rent. And it goes on to describe some of the nature of the problem. But Mr. Salerno said in an interview on Thursday that he did not care about losing his rental income in April, nor did he care to calculate the amount that he would not be collecting from his 80 apartments. He said he had 200 to 300 tenants in total. He is likely foregoing hundreds of thousands of dollars in income by canceling April rent. I'm going to say that again. AOC, who wants to paint all landlords as evil people who don't have a real job to do. We're just going to read this one more time. He is likely foregoing hundreds of thousands of dollars in income by canceling April rent. His only interest, he said, was in alleviating stress for his renters, even those who were still employed and working from home. My concern is everyone's health, said Mr. Salerno, 59, whose rent gesture was first reported on a local website. I told them just to look out for your neighbor and make sure everyone has food on the table. What a good dude, man. What a good dude. Mr. Solano said that a handful of tenants messaged him last month saying they could not afford rent. 3 renters from Ireland packed up their belongings and moved back home. Mr. Gentile spotted the sign late last week, and he said he was surprised but not shocked. For nearly 4 years, Mr. Gentile has lived in the apartment. Mr. Salerno has been a model landlord. Emergencies are fixed almost immediately, he said, such as a water leak in Mr. Gentile's ceiling that was fixed, patched, and painted within hours. You don't see that, especially in the landlord-tenant relationship in New York City. He's amazing. And listen, man, this brings up a good point about, being a landlord is work. It is a job. It is a job to be there to fix things, to make sure utilities are paid, to make sure things are taken care of. And especially when you're talking about 18 different buildings, to say that being a landlord isn't a job, AOC, is insulting to people like this. Why don't you go, and we're going to learn about how he got those lots and built those buildings, but why don't you go and build something like he has? And then come and tell him that and come and tell all of us that it's not a job. It absolutely is a job. And it's so ridiculous. He is providing a thing of value. He is providing a home. He's providing a place to live. He's providing someone that's going to come in and fix stuff when it's broken. And you want to paint that as some evil, vile overlord that just wants to keep the people down. Please, please. When people provide something of value, they should receive value in return. That is the way this works. If I give you something valuable, whether that be my time, my energy, I give you, whatever it is, a place to live, advice, a product, a service, whatever that happens to be. If I give you something of value, you should give me something of value in return. That might be money, that might be a favor, that might be something else. But that's the way the world should work. And there is nothing wrong about it. There is nothing nefarious about it. Let's see. So we're going into Mr. Gentile's backstory here, but what I want to get to, for decades, Mr. Solano has been a larger-than-life character in his part of Williamsburg on the other side of the Brooklyn-Queens Expressway from the ritzy high-rises near the East River. During the day, he runs the Salerno Auto Body Shop and gasoline station, which his father opened in 1959. The dude runs an auto body shop, man. In the 1980s, Mr. Solano started to buy vacant lots across Brooklyn to store cars damaged in accidents before they were repaired. In the 1990s, he started to turn 18 of the lots into apartment buildings. The repair shop and station are both open, though the gasoline sales are down about half from a month ago. He said he would prefer not to be working on people's cars during a pandemic, but he wanted to be there for his customers. Do I really want to do a simple oil change and brake job, Mr. Solano said on the phone at his auto shop on Thursday. No, but I have a lot of doctors and nurses who need their cars serviced. Dude, this guy is a hero, man. He's an absolute hero, and I love stories like this during this time. This is a time when we all should be coming together, and this is like a self-made guy. This is a guy that over the course of his life, he has his auto body shop, he's doing well, he's able to buy these lots, he's able to build this up, he then decides to turn the lots into apartment buildings and does well with it. This is the American dream. This guy is the American dream, and he's giving back to people. And to vilify people like this guy, because he's a landlord, and landlords are evil, and AOC, it's just ridiculous, man. This guy's stepping up and doing the right thing and providing a role model for people. And he was under no obligation to do this. And I wouldn't vilify any landlord for not doing it. They have bills to pay too, man. They got to pay for utilities. They've got to pay for all the repairs in the apartments because God knows they're going to be expected to still keep up the apartments even if people are going on AOC's rent strike. So everyone like Mr. Solano should get a round of applause, a virtual high five, and I just think it's great. Listen, if you have a great story like this that you want me to do a video on, that you want to share, I really am going to start sharing some just positive, uplifting stories. I might get a little snarky in there too because I can't help myself. But if you have a story that you think I'd be interested in about someone doing a really great thing to help other people out during this time of crisis, link it up in the comment below, share the wealth, and I may just do a video on it too.